Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Eugene. I started this organization called Step 30. So today I want to share with you about the 3 things that I've learned doing charity work in Africa. So 2014, about 10 years ago, my wife and I, we started sending shoes and clothes to different countries in Africa, about 10 of them. And then later on, we actually moved there to live in a rural area, to understand the culture, to understand how we can do better. And then, of course, starting from giving resources, we started digging wells, we started building school, we started doing farming, organic farming, community development, because ultimately, that's what's going to really help them. So over the past 10 years, we have seen a lot of beautiful, wonderful things that happen. But of course, we have also seen a lot of ugly, unpleasant things. So today, I want to share with you some of those stories. So 3 things that I've learned from it. So number 1 thing, this is what I've learned. Okay. So number 1 thing, this is what I've learned. You can't help people without getting to know them. What I mean is this. A lot of times I meet people, because the line of work that I do, they will say, oh, on the internet, I've seen this website or I've seen this thing where people are telling me they do this so-and-so orphanage, so they ask me for donations. So I actually give it, and I give it, and I give it, and I give it, and then I realize these money are not actually going towards the cause that I thought it was going to go to. So, I've even heard stories that they actually fly there and these people, they will rent an empty space, get the community, these kids to come together to put a show on for them, and then they will go back and continue to give money. So, now I'm not saying like people are out there to, my point is this. My point is, if you're not there, you're not going to know what's really happening on the ground. You have to be there. You have to get to know them personally to know what's actually happening. And I'm not saying that everyone's out there to get your money, being evil and all that. I'll give you an example. I know a lot of American friends, North Americans, Taiwanese friends, they will come over to our village. So, let's just say educators. They will come here and then they will gather 50 of our teachers. And what they would do is, they would teach them, oh, Montessori, this is the best way to educate your kids, so I'm going to teach you this. And you would see these 50 teachers, they'll be like, oh man, this is awesome. And then that American will go back home, and then I will see this. All these 50 school teachers will go back to their village. None of them will use the method that they were taught. The funny thing is, that teacher, that educator will come back the next year, and then the 70 teachers will gather together again, and then he will ask, so what do you think about it? What do you think about that Montessori thing that I taught you last year? And then they'll be like, you know what? It has drastically changed all our students. You know what? It has changed the atmosphere of our school, changed our education system. And then I'm like, what? Why? Why would you say that? We live there, we know them, so afterward we talk to them, and then they're like, this is our culture. It's honoring the guests. That's part of our culture. He already spent so much money flying all the way here, spending all this time. We don't want them to feel disappointed. So this is why we tell them that. We encourage them. So this is what I'm saying. If you don't know the group, the culture, if you really are not there on the ground, you would never know your money, your donation, your time, your effort, your teaching has actually done to them. So number 1, this is one thing that I've learned. You have to get to know them. You have to get to know their culture. Number 2 things I've learned. It's not just about having a good heart. Now, I don't know if you guys heard this thing called poverty porn. Now, some of you might have heard poverty, some of you might have heard porn, but put it together. What is that? That is the idea that people love seeing horrific pictures, terrible things. Not that they like to see these things happen to the kids or to people, but they want to see this thing so they can feel moved so that they will get towards the cause. And that kind of forces the charity work to continue to put out all these horrific pictures, and the worst thing, the saddest thing that you can see is a bad cycle. And it gets people so emotional that we can't think critically. Let me give you an example. Now, these are 2 orphanages founded by 2 different pastors. They're my friends. I took these pictures personally. Pastor A on the left, Pastor B on the right. They all have orphanages. Imagine orphanage A. All the kids have shoes, clothes, food, education. Everybody sleeping in one bed. Pastor B's orphanage, 5 kids sleeping in one bed. No water, no electricity. Kids are hungry, starving. Now let me ask you one question. If you have $100 in your pocket, who would you give towards to? B, orphanage B, right? Okay, they're not evil, they're good people, they love these kids. But what's going to happen with your $100 is this. Pastor A is going to take your money to buy seeds, to buy tools, to do farming, to teach the kids how to farm, and then they will have continual food to eat. Or, chicken. They will teach the kids how to raise their chicken, sell half an egg, and raise half a chicken. So Pastor B, what he would do is he will buy sacks of potatoes and beans and rice and things like that. So 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, guess what happened? They're going back to the same picture, same situation. But here's what they will learn though. There's not only Pastor A and B, there's Pastor A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Everybody see this. Everybody learn one thing. The poorer you are, the more resources you have. Because all of you would give towards Pastor B. And that's what you're teaching them in a way. The poorest, the most horrific, the most miserable people will get the most resources, especially internationally. And we say that consumers decide what the product is going to be like. The more things that you buy, the more products will be made that way. And it's the same thing when it comes to donation. The more donation goes towards a certain look, that kind of look will pop up more and more and more. And it's just not just on an organizational level, it's the same level on the personal level. For example, my sister-in-law came to visit us one day, and he took a taxi, one of those we call boda, which is a motorcycle taxi, and on the way to the market, on the way back, the taxi talked to my brother-in-law. And my kids are hungry, they don't have money to go to school. I trust them because that's what happened with a lot of people in our village. It's all like that. And then my brother-in-law hopped on the motorcycle, and then immediately he took out hundreds of dollars to get it to me. And then I looked at it, and I'm like, did you know that you just gave him 3-4 months of worth of salary? Would he not come to the conclusion, why would I work so hard? If I can just meet one foreigner, every season, then I'm making more money than all my friends, hardworking friends. So you have to understand, it's not just about good heart. It's not just about, having a good heart, doing good work. It's about strategy also. Picture this, if all of us started giving money towards the organization that will have a plan, that will have execution plan and report, what do you think that they're going to learn? All the Pastor A, B, C, D, E, F, G is going to learn? Well, I guess those who have actual execution plan and report will get the actual support. And that will be the good direction that we will go to. So that's the second thing that I've learned. And then the third thing that I've learned is this. We need to stop helping them. Now, I don't mean stop doing good work. What I mean is they need to have a sustainable system in place. So that should be the goal. When you start, you should have the goal to stop helping them to establish the self-sustainable system so that one day you can stop helping them. Okay, let me give you an example. A lot of people like to go to our villages and deserts to dig water wells. Why? Because that's the fastest way kids will die, drinking dirty water. So a lot of organizations will go to our deserts and places to dig wells. So it's really cool though, all of us will gather together, the African mama, the kids, everybody. They've been drinking dirty water for years of their life, and all of a sudden you got the drill going in, pumping, water spring out, and all the African mama singing the African song. That's their song, and then it's just a celebration. And you can see those donors coming from North America, so excited to see this, and then all of a sudden they'll go back. They'll live there for 2 weeks, and then they'll go back. And then they'll tell that story for years and years to come. And you know what really happened on the ground? First year, second year, third year, fourth year, a pipe will snap. Something will break. And then the locals will look at each other and be like, you know how to fix this? No, let's go back to drink dirty water. There's nothing we can do. It's not sustainable. I'm not saying other people do this. I'm saying this happened to us too. The first well that we dug broke down 5 years later. And then we had to fundraise $2,000 US, I think it was $4,000 or $5,000 actually, just to fix it. So then we started looking at each other, what are we going to do? We do like 10, 20 wells a year. What happened 5 years, 10 years down the road? I don't want to fix wells every single year. So this is what we tried to do. We said, okay, you don't have money, but you still have a little bit, right? Why don't you give 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents? That's okay. That's a set amount that people can afford. So this is our village. Everybody give 10 cents, 20 cents every time we want to use the water. So we started collecting this little fund and entrusted to Teacher Stephen here. So we started having this fund growing, thinking one day if anything snapped, we will have the funding to fix it. That's sustainability. That didn't work. You know why? Teacher Stephen never seen so much money, he ran away with it. that actually happens a lot with our work there. But anyway, we still wanted to be sustainable. So what we did was we find a pastor here, we find a teacher here, we find a local leader here, we find the chief here. Everybody come together to form a water committee. So what happened is everybody continued to give towards that cause, to give towards drinking clean water. And then the committee would turn those money into chicken, ducks, lamb, goat, and then tie them around the water source, because now there's water, there's grass, there's everything. So the ecosystem started forming. And then you will have goats growing, you will have multiplication happening, and then one day something will snap. A pipe will break. So the water committee will come together and sell 2 goats, 4 goats, a sheep, whatever, to fix that. And that is the sustainability that we're talking about. So not only just that, we also teach them farming, same idea. Ultimately, is to teach them how to grow food themselves, how to do business themselves. Eventually, we want to stop helping them. Whatever community that you're working with, that's what you want to do. Get to know them. Personally, culturally. Number 2, you want to have good strategy. That's what ultimately is going to save them, help them. Number 3, you want to get them off the support from you. And then, actually, one extra thing that I've learned, never give up. All these stories that I'm telling, it comes with a lot of heartache, problem, pressure. It's all because of the problem that we have encountered, that we have learned how to do these things right. So, almost every year, I would tell my wife, this is it, I'm done, there's too much pressure, there's too much work, I'm done this year. Step 30 has already have enough system in place, I can just leave, it will continue to run, it doesn't need me to be here, this will be the end of my time here. Every year I said that to my wife, but I remember last time I said that to her, and then almost the same week, my staff sent me this picture. And then she said, hey Eugene, this is another borehole, another well that we just dug. Look at this picture. Now the kids got clean water to drink. Now 3,000 kids can survive and live. Yay! I just turned around to my wife and said, why don't we do this a couple more years? Anyway, because of your work, your persistence, when you keep going, somebody's life might be changed. So that's the last thing that I've learned. Never give up, because you might change the world. Thank you so much.